my paper on virtualized higher education towards personalization. So I have this company called MLIK Educational Solutions in Learnovate. MLIK is my initials. EDUSOLN is the educational solutions, and eLearn means e-learning, and Ovate is innovate. And I guess that's where we are all heading towards, regardless of our professions, regardless of our focus and our destinations. So the summary of my presentation is, I'm playing this off of Google Drive. I compare the past with the now and then the future. So right now, we are in the past and at the same time at the future. In the first image, remember that I'm talking about in reference to the roles of faculty of universities, because this is based upon my experience as a course developer for a faculty in a higher educational institution such as the University of California. So right now, most faculty design from predetermined curricula, and it's not normally updated. The course that somebody conducts this year would be the same as next year's, and it's hard to update because it's all in print and books. So as time goes on, you have a bulky collection of materials. We are gathering digital tools, and these are in the form of knowledge bases, digital libraries, these kinds of libraries in all the fields which compose of analytics, research bases, and databases. These tools and resources are updated on the fly. Yeah. Almost on a minute-by-minute basis, you can't keep track of it. Then comes the artificial intelligence systems, which is becoming commonplace in the private sector, such as the Googles, the Facebooks, the IBMs, and all these other large technological sectors. It's a private sector, but it's slowly encroaching into the universities as well. And unfortunately, the faculty are not much inclined to use these tools because they are not aware that it's usable for them, or it's just very, very cumbersome to learn. It's very hard to integrate within their current paper-based curriculum, courses, and systems. I just want to emphasize that my presentation is really not about convincing the academics that traditional teaching should be replaced by e-learning. It should be complementary. E-learning should be complementary to teaching that enhances, invigorates, and complements whatever is already existing. It means they should be able to navigate between the existing curricula, which is PDFs and all that, going into the e-learning versions of it, which adds immersive environments, digital tools. Like if you're showing how to analyze something, you have to show it in a large system, not just like a miniature way, but something that excites the students in that format. Learning by itself is very social. So the idea that a person can learn by himself or herself alone is a misconception. People learn best when they interact with each other, they're a little bit more creative, and the information is chunked in manageable way. Learning one unit progresses to the next unit, and you can do that through e-learning on your own in collaboration with other people. So e-learning is the use of multiple file formats. You use everything from images, virtual reality, moving images, videos, MPEGs, MP3s, and then you also include all the URL links of these digital libraries. You have an interaction with your computer, and you can make it even more immersive using headsets, simulation, and VR, and you generate feedback in the classroom, and also feedback through at the students' own time. What is not e-learning is just no motion. So what we had before was very, very tactile. You have to touch it. You have to be able to flip through it. You can find it in books, in libraries, newspapers, and analog videos, libraries, stores, and homes. Whereas e-learning, you can find it everywhere on the web. So the past has seen the information being scattered, being haphazard, disorganized, and very random. The brain during e-learning activates a lot of the different sensors, and it's multi-sensory, multimodal. You have to use your hands at the same time. You have to use, it's all on the head. You don't touch anything, and you use all the different parts of the brain during interaction, during learning, during accessing, during perception, and that your degree of perception and engagement determines how you will learn from the material, transcend from the material, and use it to whatever purpose you have to learn the course. So now we have a lot of choices. And the modes of presentation, the knowledge representation, knowledge systems, the method of accessing them through different storage solutions, through the PCs, the laptops, the servers, external drives, and that are cloud-based, and apps that are both private and public. Most of them are open source. The ones that become private, mostly based on open source, they customize it to certain types of customers and clientele, package a customized solution. The challenges of e-learning for faculty. There's so many solutions. I can't prescribe everything. With my experience at the University of California, building two e-learning, not knowing anything about the subject matter, and completing the project, made me realize that with any kind of situation, anybody can be capable of fulfilling a project task, such as the one that was given to me when I got employed in 2005 and 2007. These two subject matters were telemedicine, didn't know anything about it, pandemic flu, didn't know anything about it, but I was able to manage to do that, to complete that, because I was able to develop a work structure that through accessing different resources and research, so I was able to get all the materials I have, get all the data analytics I needed. I have to read a lot, digital libraries that compose of different kinds of readings on telemedicine and pandemic flu. I gathered all that, digitized, interpreted all those materials in digital formats, made moving videos out of it, made flash videos out of all those, and was able to complete it. But there's also the challenge of understanding how to use some tools, that creation tools that allow you to actually, it's called authoring tools. I know if you're familiar, anybody familiar with authoring tools? Authoring tools allow you to combine different types of file formats and make it moving. And if all of you are interested to experience the two courses that I built, leave your cards on the table, and I'll send you a private link so that you can view those two projects. It's free-flowing. It starts from the beginning of the course with the navigation tree on the left. I built it in a combination of Microsoft and Articulate. Is anybody familiar with that? If you want to view the courses on your own time, please leave your cards over there, and I'll send the link to you. So now we have so many different ways of doing it. Utilize different digital systems, knowledge systems, storage systems, different kinds of databases. You can build machines on the fly using Amazon, Azure, IBM, grids, and you can build software solutions on your own. If you have adequate knowledge of installing full stack software, you'd be able to create your own, like what you call a shell for holding all those content that you want. 2 years after I finished that contract with the University of California, Davis, I formulated an e-learning business model where you can hold all these tools together, from research, grabbing content, digital libraries, manuscript, adding to what already curriculum. You can access different kinds of digital libraries through membership to different associations, databases, and analytical tools. It's important that I tell you that it is possible because there's a trend and there's a move by certain sectors to completely make the brick and mortar universities irrelevant because there's way too many resources, and a lot of faculty are resistant to using technologies for their teaching. And most of the millennials, most of the people that want to extend their education beyond what you call the university are easily gravitating towards the virtual universities offered by corporations, offered by some universities in partnership with other universities, and it's all free. The high cost of education, people want to learn but they can't afford it, would naturally gravitate towards the virtual universities that are freely available. And even schools such as MIT, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, they're all in tune to the fact that, you know, if people want to learn, why not make it free? Why not make it freely available, such as the MOOC, you know, massive open online courses. Usually, it was originally intended for students in underdeveloped countries, but the biggest users are from the United States and the developed world to update their skills, learn more on their field that are rapidly changing, and be relevant to the workplace. This is what comprises my solution, Clarify method. So 2 years after I finished my contract with the University of California, I retraced my steps on how I did what I did, and I followed the same routine. That is, I accessed digital libraries to learn about the subject matter, which was completely strange to me, and it took me about 6 months to get into the whole environment of the subject matter. Then I chose some analytical tools, and then the hardest part was the authoring tools, because not only will you try and compare the features of each authoring tool, you also have to learn each one. So those are the things you have to figure out yourself. The first project was minimal. I used Microsoft. But the second project, I got a little higher. I used Articulate, the whole suite of it, and made the whole project much more user-friendly, and the interface was a little better. LMS tools that were already freely available, open source. So I also have to get acquainted with it. I was able to formulate this in an understandable manner, and I have it. The websites for these are also at the end of the presentation. And the system being, you gather content from the digital library, you analyze it, put all these things together in the authoring tools, and the learning management system are A-Tutor. There's Moodle. Moodle is probably very familiar to all of you. There's Docebo. They have the same features. They all have different names, but they do exactly the same thing. I'm pretty sure not all of the faculty are aware that, you know, these things exist. So I've been talking about this since 2008 in conferences. But now we have artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence automates a lot of stuff that you can embed on a ready course. So, for example, you're a professor and you want to have, you know, there's so many, the professor has so many roles. I know, because my husband is a professor, and he works almost 24/7, and when there's a free time, he works some more. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of those tasks that can be automated. Some professors in MIT are using artificial intelligence to assist them in their courses. I'm using a robot, for example, and it's already happening in Asia. Japanese professors are using this. Some of them go to the extent of building a robot to their likeness so that the students that interact with these robots think that it's them. Or they stand in for the professor to teach. They stand in for the professor to interview, to do a session with the professor where they ask questions and ask some real-time help on their assignments and projects. So this is an added load on the professor because not only will you now know how to program a robot, you also have to prepare all the questions that a student might want when they want assistance on your courses. So it gets a little bit more complicated. So they're all available. I mentioned this a while ago. To the extent that the robot can also, in the future, when you're so familiar with it, robots can build your courses. That's the highest point probably of using digital technologies to teach. These are my references, and just to show you my company sites, because to be able to do what I've been talking about, you need to acquire a lot of skills. So on my website, it's on my card. You can access this on my card. So these are my solution providers. So all what I was talking about are all in my website. So that's me and that's my son. He helped me with the 2 courses that I built. So research, these are the skills that you need to acquire to be able to do it yourself. That's just the course making. That does not include the artificial intelligence component of like building robots, programming the robots. So that's just for digitizing your traditional curriculum that you already have. So for authoring, for research, analysis, and learning management systems, these are the skill sets you need to have. The professors already have the skill sets on the research. Research and analytical sort of taken care of for professors. The authoring is probably the most challenging for them. And the LMS is just a piece of cake for, you just have to put the zip file and put it on the LMS. LMS, Learning Management System, is the tool you use to deliver the courses. You enroll your students and then you present the courses. This is what I offer on my e-learning business solution model, which I plan on offering 2 versions of the Clarify, which has all those tools, 1 free version and 1 paid version. This I already built, but it's not interactive. You can't do anything with it right now. But I show you it's on clarify.com. But I show you on that how you can build your curriculum until the LMS. So this is what I have on my system. So you have a cloud account, you have a domain name, you have all the tools, you have access to all the tools. And you have your own cloud server. Yeah, like I mentioned, analytical tools. It's better if you like explore it on your own. The link is on my card. So these are all the learning management systems. Like if you do it yourself, you can get all these also, but it'll take you a lot of time to. You can do it yourself. If you can install software on your own, no problems. You can do it yourself. But the advantage that I'm offering is that it's all in one subscription, and you get access to all the tools. And when you have your own account, you can also have the option of monetizing your courses if you want to, because you'll be able. It's your own private server, so you can develop courses that are not significantly different, although it's a little less complicated, and you can offer it as a free course, not for undergraduates, but for the general public. That's the option. So I acknowledge the University of California, Davis for employing me year 2005 to 2007, and I got the opportunity to build those 2 projects and have a based on the experience, was able to put together an e-learning business model that can positively impact the e-learning evolution in the university. And also my son, who's my co-founder, who was doing his course in Berkeley that time, but I pulled him out for just a few minutes every single day and be able to do some of the video transcription of very, very old videos from the department that I was working for. So with this, I wrap it up. And thank you for listening and being patient, even though it's very hard to get out the words. My mouth's so dry. I don't know why. Is it the room or something? So anyways, thank you very much. Can somebody take my picture? You take my picture, please. Any questions, by the way? Yeah, I forgot the question. Any questions?
Yeah, Doctor, I just want to know.
Yes.
E-learning means that developing the apps or the software for e-learning, or including the infrastructure to support the e-learning.
Say it again, please.
Do you mean by e-learning for higher education mean you developing the apps or the software or the program for e-learning, or you care about the infrastructure to support the e-learning as well?
Yeah, I think I support just the model that I was talking about was more in support of e-learning building. I'm making everybody and giving everybody the power.
It means that developing we call it apps or the software or the content of e-learnings, or you are concerning more about the infrastructure to support the e-learning program. Do you got me or not?
It's not the e-learning.
It's the
program.
content.
It's the e-learning process. So right now the problem is we have paper-based curriculum based on traditional teaching, chalkboard. You know, you go to classroom, you teach using chalkboard. Whereas e-learning can prepare you with an e-learning curriculum. It's not replacing the chalkboard.
So
it's actually giving giving more preparation for students to access the course, so that when they come to the classroom and everybody's on the same page. You know, and you make your classroom in such a way that it's technology enabled, and you can make the whole room talk. Like you can project this, you can project that. You know, you can do everything at the same time. And you have headsets. You have headsets that you talk about like genomics and manufacturing. You can show it at the same time that you're talking.
As a blended environment. A blended environment.
Blended environment.
It means that the contents of e-learning. But if the infrastructure is failed, then the e-learnings won't support in the program.
Well, yeah, it's both. Yeah, it's both.
Yes.
Well, most classrooms now are tech enabled.
Yes.
It's just that professors don't want to use it sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to follow up on what she's just asked, does it mean that your curriculum that you're developing for e-learning allows students to be able to access the material outside the class, or is it only inside?
Anytime, anywhere.
So with their mobile phones and any other device?
Yeah, the one I'm proposing for the faculty use, so that what they deliver is something that's very, very user-friendly for the students, that they can access. They can use. Only the professors can make modifications to the whatever they build. The students are merely accessing whatever the professors build, and it better be interesting, or the professors lose them too, right? That's so. But the idea that the students can access it anytime, especially before they come to the classroom, makes it very compelling for people to get on the same page before they even go to the next session. Makes the whole thing run faster, you know, the course. So you can shorten the courses. You can shorten the course time, or the you know, for conducting it. Okay. Anything else?
I was wondering, because the last thing you said here, I think, and I know that you're developing technologies and the learning processes and so on, but I think it raises a number of questions in relation to how students